We are rolling.
Good morning. Welcome back to the conversation. This is Pointing Out the Obvious. This is our news and politics webcast, our daily take on what's buzzing today. I'm your host, Patrick Russell, and over there is my very opinionated producer, Veronica. Together, we're here to quip and quiver through today's headlines, searching for the real. No matter how deep in the swamp we need to go. Happy Hump Wednesday to you, Veronica. Swinging back around on a conversation that we've talked about several times, the opiate addiction epidemic that is existing and is happening in the United States. Mac Miller. Remember Mac Miller, that great rapper that came back in 2015, 16, 17, and unfortunately then OD'd way too young at 26 in 2018. So in his system, the autopsy performed revealed that there was alcohol, cocaine, and fentanyl. Lots and lots of fentanyl, probably to the point where most people would agree, even by his own admissions and songs, that he was addicted to Oxycontin and he had been using it for a long time. And so now the story goes, a local story came out that an Arizona man is pleading guilty to being the dope pusher that provided the fentanyl pill to the friend that then the friend gave to Mac Miller, right? So it was actually a stage here. It wasn't the direct person that handed the pill. It was the actual supplier.
The drug dealer.
The big drug dealer, right, that then reached out to the smaller guy that then handed the pills over to Mac Miller that eventually led to his death. He is the one that is pleading guilty. We don't know exactly what the punishment is, but it does once again bring back full circle the question. What came first? Who's more at fault? Is it the addict? Is it, quote unquote, the victim who, by all accounts, did it to themselves? Or is it the supplier of the drug that eventually leads to the downfall and death of whoever takes it? Your thoughts?
Well, definitely every player has a fault on this story, right? So, I don't know. I do think that Miller had a lot of responsibility too. I mean, he
no
was
question
an
that
addict
there has to be some responsibility held by the person that put themselves in that situation. No question.
But I'm glad that they got the person, at least one person that was obviously that was or is a supplier, or was in this case because he's obviously dead. So I'm glad that he was able to, I guess, play guilty based on the story. But and then I mean, what is it that we do moving forward with people that are addictive and they're still going to find a way to supply themselves with pills and drugs and stuff like that? I mean, this is deeper just finding one drug dealer, right? I mean, there's probably too many. So what is it that we do?
Well, so the story goes, at least in this specific instance, that it all started with a right prescription, a legal prescription for a minor pain that Oxycontin was distributed for all the moderate pains, headaches, bone aches, can't sleep. Here's some Oxycontin. So the story goes, as far as Mac Miller was concerned, is that it started off, the addiction became present from a legal and actually rightfully prescribed pain medication for what he was going through. But then, of course, let's say that pain went away, but now the addiction remains. And what's a lot easier to get? Prescribes Oxycontin that is regulated and the number of pills are completely controlled from month to month, or the generic version, which is what the fentanyl pill really represented. It was the generic fake version of Oxycontin for those that are hooked, but now finding it very difficult to get the pharmaceutical prescribed kind, but finding it so much easier to get the fentanyl, the generic knockoff. But the question then remains, should the makers of this drug that then leads down this very long path of destruction that doesn't necessarily end with a person having Oxycontin in their pocket or in their system, but the actual generic knockoff, but originated, the root of the evil originated from a quote-unquote safe and legal and trusted source, your general practitioner.
And then let me rephrase what I said, because I didn't know that he was actually prescribed.
This was a long time ago, though, because then the addiction takes place much longer beyond his relationship with his doctor.
But I think what you said, it's real. I mean, he was prescribed, and therefore the addiction started at the moment when he started getting prescribed. Obviously, moving forward, he was already addictive, so he was gonna find a way to get that those pills because he was addictive. So going back to the other webcast,
That was the prosecution's argument, of course.
and it is a legit one, and it makes sense. And once again, if you were already prescribed and you got addictive, my position is like, yes, blame whoever needs to get blamed. Now, if it was the opposite side where he actually went on the side without getting prescribed and he got addicted, obviously that's on you, that's on me if I were to be my case, right?
Correct. Right. There has to be circumstances, at least as far as this argument is concerned. We can't lay it all on the feet of the makers. But once again, for those situations where it all began in a trusted, safe place like your doctor's office, where that first OxyContin prescription was given to you, when it never should have been given to you for moderate pain, and then that addiction began, whatever happened after you leave the doctor's office is what, first off, the makers are suggesting that belongs on the addict. And then it's the prosecutors that say, no. It all started because the trust and the addiction came from the safe place of the doctor's office.
I don't know. I don't think you remember because we were not dating back when I had like really bad headaches. I believe it was like 2014, 15. I was going through a breakup, so I'm gonna blame that for the headaches, right? So the point is that I went to, it was really painful. I went to the doctor, to the ER actually, and they give me like 4 pills. At that point, I don't even know what pills, because I think the idea of us doing this webcast is for you guys also to know and to get familiar with the words, because I didn't know that was something that potentially can get me addicted, right? So I don't know what I took, but the pain went away like within like 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, that feels good. I'm not the type of person to get addicted to things, just in general, pills, maybe just to people. I mean, that's another webcast, but the pain went away and it felt good. So I can imagine the feeling that I had after taking the pills and before taking the pills, and that's the sensation that you want to get all the time. So at this point, I cannot potentially blame the person that is taking the pills, but whoever is giving me that sensation that I need, right? If that makes sense. So
it's a powerful drug, and that was the problem with it, is that it did give your life back. It put the pain back in check. It did allow you now to work or engage with your kids and resume a full life. The problem is that your doctor was saying that you could get off of it at any time, and it wasn't going to lead to withdrawal symptoms that could literally destroy your life, which absolutely wasn't true. Final note, as we recalled in the previous webcast, a lot of these state attorney generals are now getting pushed back by the judges, saying this quote-unquote public nuisance approach to taking down these makers of the generic OxyContin and OxyContin itself now need to come with a new approach. And I think this is the actual approach that they should really investigate, seeing how it's a chain of events that even if the victim doesn't have OxyContin in their system, the fentanyl, the generic cheap knockoff, it all came and originated from a safe space that was created illegitimately by the makers of OxyContin and the generic. So, final note, guys, please don't just subscribe to this channel, even though we will be doing this back and forth on a daily basis, but please lend your voice to the show. It'll make it a whole lot more fun and interesting. Guys, you need to remember, it doesn't matter if you lean to the right. It doesn't matter if you lean to the left. As long as you're treating the person in front of you kindly, you just made the world a better place. Happy Hump Wednesday, everybody.